life. Who am I? Why am I here? And what am I going to have for dinner tonight? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Tonight I endeavour to answer 3 of these 4 very profound questions. First, who am I? My name is Chris Saller, I'm 31 years of age. I grew up in the 90s in East London, in Wapping to be precise. Now, a very upmarket part of town, it wasn't always so like that. Giant wharves and warehouses dominated the landscape, including my old school playground with a tiny ship-shaped climbing frame nestled snugly within it. My parents' house was a lovely place. It was situated in a gated square which formed an ideal private playground for all of the kids in the neighbourhood. It was a lot of fun growing up there with my younger sister and our gang of friends who terrorised our neighbours with our wayward footballs and skateboards. At the age of 9, we moved to leafy green North London, suddenly transitioning from being urbanites to suburbanites, with something over 20 years later my dad is just about getting used to. At high school, I met friends there who would change my life forever. A couple of these in particular introduced me to bands and records that I've loved and listened to ever since. A couple of these in particular inspired me to take up playing the guitar, much to my parents' everlasting horror, unfortunately. Being encouraged to grow up, finally, after school, I embarked on the next leg of my marathon by going to university to study psychology in Scotland, but I ended up finishing a couple of years later with a degree in sound engineering and music production in Birmingham. While studying, I decided to get to grips with the weird and wonderful world of the music industry, and I worked for a year very closely with Sony and EMI Records. After that, I kick-started my career working in a small recording studio in West London, in Shepherd's Bush. Enticed by the idea of professional progression and development, however, my next journey took me to a project management role in Birmingham, working for a professional audio company who designed and manufactured the kind of equipment that I've been using in the studio. I think the most enjoyable moment for me there was when I witnessed the quality control test for a flight case. A case very similar to this one, in fact, only many, many times bigger. Now, the test was relatively simple. I'd like to explain it very briefly to you now. The case was held aloft about 6 foot high off the ground and then dropped to test what can happen when the people responsible for packing down and transporting equipment have a bit too much fun during the show. So from there, my next step took me to a job at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival one year. Being the kind of environment where everyone's up all night, working all hours of the day, no one really denied themselves the opportunity for an evening out. And one such evening took me to an after party for the annual awards ceremony there, where my friend Brett was DJing. On this particular occasion, I couldn't help but notice that he was joined by a co-DJ. Now, it was almost impossible not to notice this person, mainly because of the leopard print leotard tail and external shoulder pads that they were wearing, dancing along with the crowd and kind of orchestrating the chaos on the dance floor. Needless to say, she obviously had a profound impression on me because 4 years later, we're now getting married in a few short months. I'd like to conclude finally with why I'm here. It's very important to me to be engaged and as involved in my immediate community as possible. I think it's everyone's responsibility to do this. And for me, self-improvement is a large part of this, as I'm sure it is for everyone here. It's my aim to always be the best version of myself, and I believe Toastmasters is a fantastic way of enabling me to achieve that aim. Oh, and I'm having pizza for dinner tonight. Mr. Toastmaster.